Hello guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Kelvin Gituma. Today we are going through economic growth, economic development, and economic planning. The difference between the economic growth and economic development. So the economic growth is a narrower concept than economic development. It is an increase in the country's real level of national output, which can be caused by an increase in the quality of resources, by education, etc. Increase in the quantity of resources and improvement in technology, or in another way, an increase in the value of goods and services produced by every sector of the economy. So the economic growth can be measured by an increase in country's GDP, which is the gross domestic product. Then we have economic development is a normative concept, i.e. it applies in the context of people's sense of morality, which is right and wrong, good and bad. The definition of economic development, given by Michael Todaro, is an increase in living standards, improvement in self-esteem needs, and freedom from oppression, as well as a greater choice. So the most accurate method of measuring development is the Human Development Index, which takes into account the literacy rates and life expectancy, which affects productivities and could lead to economic growth. It also leads to the creation of more opportunity in the sectors of education, healthcare, employment, and the conservation of the environment. It implies an increase in the per capita income of every citizen. So the economic growth does not take into account the size of the informal economy. The informal economy is also known as the black economy, which is unrecorded economic activities, also known as Kadogo economy. The development elevates people from low standards of living into proper employment with suitable shelter. So the economic growth does not take into account the depletion of natural resources, which might lead to pollution, congestion, and diseases. So development, however, is concerned with sustainability, which means meeting the needs of the present without compromising future needs. These environmental effects are becoming more of a problem for governments now that the pressure has increased on them due to the global warming. The economic growth is a necessary but are not sufficient condition of economic development. So we have comparison. So we'll compare with factors. So we have how many factors? We have around 6 factors. The first factor is implication. So in terms of implication, economic development implies an upward movement of the entire social system in terms of income, savings, and investment, along with progressive changes in socio-economic structure of a country, into bracket institutional and technological changes. So the economic growth in terms of implication is refers to an increase over time in a country's real output of goods and services, which is the GNP, gross national product, or real output per capita income. So the second factor is factors. So development relates to growth of human capital indexes, a decrease in equality figures, and structural changes that improve the general population's quality of life. So for economic growth, it relates to a gradual increase in one of the component of gross domestic product into bracket GDP, consumption, government spending, net export, stroke investments. The third factor is measurement. So in terms of measurement, qualitative, which is human development index into bracket HDI, gender related index into bracket GDI, human poverty index into bracket HPI, infant mortality, and literacy rate, etc. In terms of economic growth, is measured in quantitative increases in the real GDP. The GDP is the gross domestic product. The fourth factor is effect. So in terms of effect, economic growth brings qualitative and quantitative changes in the economy. The economic growth, in terms of effect, it brings only quantitative changes in the economy. The fifth factor is relevance. So economic development is more relevant to measure progress and quality of life in developing nations. So in terms of relevance, economic growth is a more relevant metric for progress in developed countries, but it is widely used in all countries because growth is a necessary condition for development. So the sixth and the last factor is scope. So scope is concerned in the economic growth. The scope is concerned with the structural changes in that economy. The economic growth, the scope is concerned with increase in the economic output. So we have actual and potential growth. So actual economic growth represents the fact that there is an actual increase in output, whereas potential economic growth represents an increase in the productive capacity of the economy. The actual growth is defined as an increase in the output that an economy produces over a period of time, the minimum being two consecutive quarters. Economic growth is an increase in what an economy can produce if it is using all its scarce resources. An increase in an economy productive output can be shown by an outward shift in the economy's production possibility frontier, which is PPF. So the simplest way to show economic growth is to bundle all goods into two basic categories, which is consumer and capital goods. An outward shift of a PPF means that the economy has increased in capacity to produce. The potential growth is defined in the level of output that an economy can produce at a constant inflation rate. So although an economy can temporarily produce more than its potential level of output that comes at the cost of rising inflation, the potential output depends on the capital stock, the potential labor force, which depends on demographic factors and on participation rates. The non-accelerating inflation rate of unemployment, which is is NAIRO, and the level of labor efficiency. So we move to benefits and cost of growth. Economic growth means an increase in real GDP. This increase in real GDP means that there is an increase in the value of national output national expenditure. The benefits of economic growth include 1. High average incomes. This enables consumers to enjoy more goods and services and enjoy better standards of living. 2. Lower unemployment. So with high output and positive economic growth, firms tend to employ more workers, creating more employment. That lower government borrowing. Economic growth creates higher tax revenue and there is less need to spend money on benefits such as unemployment benefit. Therefore, economic growth helps reduce government borrowing. Economic growth also plays a role in reducing debt to GDP ratio. So we'll move to the fourth one is improved public services. With increased tax revenues, the government can spend more on public services such as the NHS and education. Fifth, money can be spent on protecting the environment. With high real GDP, a society can devote more resources to promote recycling and the use of renewable resources. And we will leave it at there. Thank you for taking your time to go through this. And if you have more of them, the benefit and cost of growth, you can please let us know at the comment section. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Adios until see you next time.